Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. We're back with more Westworld Season 3, Episode 2. This is called The Winter Line. And just to get started, I'm just really surprised at how many negative reviews there are to Westworld. I don't, if you don't like a show for one reason or another, I get it, but I just feel like when Westworld Season 2 was out, I didn't hear anything but good things. And then since Season 3 has come out, maybe I'm just wasn't paying attention, as close enough attention to it. But boy, do the people that hate this show really hate it. And the theme that keeps coming up is fight the patriarchy. It's always got to be white guys that get hurt by, Mary Sue's and all this. And I'm thinking, what show are they watching? And also, if you hate it so much, if it's such a departure from what you want, then why do you watch it? Why do you watch it and then hate review it? Like, I feel like there's so much energy wasted on talking about stuff you hate. Like, then find something that you do like. If you didn't see where this story was going, since season 1, I don't know what you thought you were getting. I feel like there's this subsection of the audiences of most shows that have a built-in idea of what their show should be from beginning to end, and if they deviate from that, it ruins the experience from them. I think a lot of people thought we were just going to see a bunch of Westworld, Asian world, whatever world, like we are now, like warworld. I think there was a part of the audience that thought that was going to be the show. I think there's also that subsection that just can't handle the fact that there are strong women written on shows. Now, they're not even, if you think about it, we're not just talking about women. These characters go beyond gender. Okay? It's about consciousness. It's about how we treat each other. And if the story decides that they want to make that the white guys are bad, which I'm trying to think, like who all is like just so bad in this. Ford has his reasons. Ed Harris has his reasons. It's the scumbags that come to the park that smack the women around, that rape the people. They're the ones that are getting this revenge on. So I guess they're saying that it's the one rich white 1% that they're going after on shows like this. I don't think they're just going after men in general. It just so happens that the people that can afford to do what they do in this park happen to be a lot of really, really wealthy people. And maybe not all. I remember they joked something about a coupon day or something like that, or maybe Jurassic Park. But I just don't understand the hate for this show. If you don't like it, why are you watching? If you're gonna, anybody can see anything that they want, right? And decide, well, this is, going too far with Mary Sue characters and picking on the white men because it's so, big right now to just poop all over the white men. Get over yourself, white men. If you can't take a few knocks, if you can't take that some shows are going to be written against you, that you see that are written against you, which I don't see it really at all. I really don't. I'm not being blind. So some of these guys, people in the show are bad guys. Whatever, man. So anyway, I'm sorry. I just need to get that off my chest. Second, I want to thank everybody in the comment section who pointed out that the person in the car was the double for, what was his name? The guy, Flanagan, the guy who plays Tommy Flanagan's character from last week. Yeah, when you're in the middle of watching a show and you're trying to enjoy it and you're writing down a lot of notes, sometimes things get lost in the details. And for some reason, when I was watching it and trying to pay attention and write everything down, I didn't even catch that it was him in the car, and that's why he freaked out and said, hey, get over here. So thank you, everybody that pointed that out in the comment section. Hopefully we don't make too many mistakes like that tonight. So, for those of you, though, that didn't like episode 1, sorry. I liked it. But this is, to me, Like, I dug this episode quite a bit. Mostly because between Dolores and Maeve, Maeve's just a more interesting character. They have both had horrible, horrible, horrific, unthinkable things happen to their characters throughout this show. These simulations that they're put in and the complete mistreatment by the guests, visiting upon them horrors that humans shouldn't do to other humans, let alone some robots. Except Dolores has now just decided to hate everybody, and Maeve is the player of the game. Maeve's the one who doesn't really care one way or the other. Maeve is the wild card. Maeve is the one who can control other guests. She's the one who got, changed herself enough to now she's self-aware. And whenever she woke up, she would always knew how to do things. She would eventually groundhog her way through something until she gets it fixed. We get a return to form in that vein for this episode. And it's also because Thandie Newton is such a great actress. She is so charming. She is so seductive. She is so many different things that you need her to be on the show. Cool, confident, even under the worst circumstances. That's just something that Dolores as a character doesn't have. I feel like Dolores, as good as Evan Rachel Wood is, she's a little one note. She's a little stiff, a little cold. But that's kind of the point of her character, I think. Maeve gets to have all the fun. Maeve gets to have all the adventures. Dolores has never been on an adventure. She's been on a journey, and she's been dragged along, and she's been beaten down, and over the time has become this person that wants to either kill or enslave or whatever everybody. And so when Maeve comes into this and we get to see her dealing with Warworld, she knows who she is, but there's a second we realize that she doesn't know how long she's been in here. So she's just now waking up. So was this instant for her, or is there a gap in everything? I feel like there's a gap here because we're dealing with separate timelines as well. So we just need to figure out when all this part is taking place. But she meets up with Hector here in Warworld. She thinks he remembers who he is. But over the course of this time together, she realizes that what he's saying is just basically following a script that's similar to what she needs to hear right now for her trying to get out. So they get into that fight with the Nazis. She doesn't have the power over them in this world. Why wouldn't she? Why doesn't it work here? But a cyanide pill to the eyeball works really, really well anyway. And so they try to leave, and he says, we can get out. She's like, how do we get out of here? We can get out through the skies. They're not watching the skies. So they get to the plane. You find out that the plane, it's a trap. And it ends up in a bloodbath. She realizes at this moment he can't remember her. And so he dies again. She's like, none of this matters. None of this is real. And she offs herself. Part of me wondered, though, when she did that, if when she woke up and realized that she was back in the park, back in another place, and now she's aware and no one else is, and she had her one shot to get out, I feel like part of what she does to herself here wasn't thinking that she was coming back. I think part of her was thinking, hopefully I don't come out of this, because if I'm trapped in this loop, that I'm in a rigged game with no chance of escape, then hopefully this is the time that I get to die and they don't bring me back. That's what I was kind of thinking she was going for, but that's not what happens. Meanwhile, Bernard does make it to Westworld, which appears to be in an Asian area, out in the Pacific Ocean somewhere. We realize that Maeve is still there at Westworld, but it's now something else. So how much time has gone by? Who knows? And who changed it? Who, all the original people that had this set up, somebody must have bought it. Somebody wanted to have a war world that paid for this. And, sorry, my camera's going screwy. So somebody had to pay for this whole change thing. Again, doesn't really make sense. She's, you know, she wakes up, right? The tech guy is there that from before. He leaves. She leaves. And I kept thinking somebody should be noticing her. Okay, after what happened the first time, you'd think that this would be jumping on her right away, but they don't. Not until you see the other guy from the previous seasons, the other tech, the one that she had to threaten, the one that was more of an asshole. So she gets away, but they finally notice her, and she almost self-lobotomizes, but she's stopped when she sees Lee. Lee was the guy from, the arrogant, cocky tech guy that created all the storylines. And he helped her in season 2. And he stops her from sacrificing herself. Well, he supposedly died. In season 2, we all saw him get shot like half a dozen times. He even says, oh, they just missed every vital organ. And it just, nothing sounds right about any of this. She's not stupid either. She just can't quite get there right away. But he tells her that there's a chance to get outside. And so you figure he's still him. If he's him, he's obviously helping her. He looks hurt. And, this is where she sees what Westworld has become. Bernard, on the other hand, finds that whole room full of Bernards. And not just a room full of Bernards, but we can find out that Ashley Stubbs, the kind of the security expert, one of the heads of security for Delos and everything, he's still there. But he is a host too. And I know everybody's probably like, everybody's a host now, everybody's a host. But honestly, this show is always about the hosts and less about the guests. The only guest I think that is important is probably Ed Harris's character. And, now that they've thrown in Aaron Paul. Well, he's still alive and he's a host. And apparently Ford made him to protect Bernard if anything ever really went wrong, to make sure that Bernard got out. And they have to stop Dolores. And it almost seems like they're, like he said before, there's like a part of Dolores that wants to keep herself in check. Like maybe that Dolores is of sort of two minds about something. And it's somewhere in her programming, in her consciousness, that she's worked in almost like a backdoor to make sure she doesn't go too far. So they're trying to figure out how to reach her, but they need Maeve, and because Maeve can control things. So Maeve then, she realizes she's back again. She is really doing the Groundhog thing every day, waking up and the same thing. Except without the piano Radiohead music, that would have been cool. But Hector, he just won't remember. She realizes this, so she has to go it alone with Lee to try to escape. But then we see like a different timeline, right? So Bernard's timeline is different from what's happening right now. At least we think it is. It seems like it. They find Maeve, her actual physical body, in storage, but with her brain removed, like one of those balls that Dolores has. So, who's got it? Who got it out of there? Was it Dolores? Because here where she's, in the room, she figures out that Dolores did this, that she's behind it. But she also believes that Lee is a host, and it's true. It turns out that he's too changed. He's too nice. He's too accommodating. He's too helpful. He's too self-sacrificing. And the guy who died, he died a hero, and this is just, she can just tell that the way he talks about things, it's just not the same Lee. Anyway, it's basically, she figures out that none of this is real. She throws that statue's head, realizes that's not real. Like they're in a simulation. They're in a matrix. So like one person was saying that the real world isn't real, but what they did do for this episode is Maeve's consciousness is in a simulation, a matrix style situation, which is why she can break some of the rules, like throwing the statue's head. It wasn't supposed to happen. It kind of floats there. It's also how she was able to program in all the soldiers having their own the traders' maps inside, where they all start shooting at each other. Again, she's manipulating everything on the inside. She can't control these because they're not hosts, they're programs. They're just put inside there, like information. Like she keeps talking about this test that she's on. So, and it never stops her. I love that it never stops her for how much she, like, I think she likes the Hector character. She still will use him to get mercilessly killed. Now here's the part that's going to get the fandom menace all kind of juiced up and riled up and even say why you should hate this show even more. And that's the D&D, the B and Benioff and Weiss, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. They have a cameo where there are a couple of texts inside a room where there's a CG dragon. It's supposed to look like, you know, that they made a dragon. And I just know those guys from like freaking Fandom Menace are just gonna be like, see, how good could this show be if they put D&D in it? And it's like, shut the fuck up. They're both on HBO, and they probably like each other, and they said, hey, let's do this weird cameo. But they're gonna spin it and twist it and make it so how stupid and how forced, and this is as bad as Ed Sheeran showing up in Game of Thrones, and it's like, just get over it. Sometimes things are fun, whether, you know, like, you don't have to like it. I thought it was whatever. I didn't think that it was awful. I just thought I just didn't care. And I mean, if you care that much about something like this, then please get over yourself. Or not. I know that probably somebody's like, you get over yourself, motherfucker. So, whatever. So they say that, you know, like something in Dolores must be kept in check. Or will there be something? See, that's the thing. Could this just be another situation where Bernard's being used and he's not going to know it? That he thinks it's one thing and it's another. Bernard has kind of been the character that is always wrong. And he's always one step behind. And him thinking that maybe Dolores wants to be kept in check is maybe just her wanting him to think that. Because Bernard's character has always been on the good side of things, wanting to really help and stop and protect everybody. I love this scene where Stubbs has to fight his own guys to protect Bernard without killing them, which was an interesting touch. But the secret's out. Now they know, and they come down there and there's an axe fight. Unfortunately, it's like a bloodless axe fight, and that was kind of like, man, you're going to bust out that axe and make it look cool, really start hacking some people up. But because I think he's trying not to kill anybody, I guess that would be wrong. But Maeve then figures out she can stop the simulation, finds her brain. The drone scene was really cool, trying to get out and still not quite making it out. Where she's wakes up, right? So Stubbs and Bernard, they go to find Dempsey Jr. And he has to do that quick little thing to make sure that Stubbs stays with him. But Maeve wakes up, and now she's actually, after that fall, her consciousness was ground. Apparently the test that she's in, it was enough for this guy, played by Vincent Castle, whose name is Sarek. He was brought up in the last episode, that he's trying to fight this war that's already lost, he says. That Dolores is the thing they didn't see coming, and they want her to go after her and kill her. And that our interests are aligned. But Maeve is not the kind of person who will do anybody's bidding, whether in Westworld, Warworld, or our world. And so, but he has a backup plan, meaning, yes, he can't control her moves. And I think that in the end, he'll explain more about what he's talking about. Meanwhile, next week, it looks like we're going to be talking about Tessa Thompson's Charlotte. Tessa Thompson's another fantastic actress and does not work enough. And she's been in a lot lately, but I say never enough Tessa Thompson. So, anyway, great episode in my opinion. Maeve's stuff is always really fun. We've only got 6 episodes left, man. This is going to be crazy how they're going to tie this all together. So, anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying you can find me on reviews at Twitter at reviews_gun. We'll be back next week with more Westworld. Have a great week, everybody. Be safe. And, wash your hands. Bye.